Ancient Echoes. Prophecies of Modern Nations Found in the Ancient Scriptures. Part 1. The Introduction. Sowing the Seeds of Mystery. Under the gentle flicker of candlelight, as shadows dance upon ancient texts, we are drawn into a profound mystery, a whisper from the distant past that resonates with startling clarity in our present. Can the scrolls penned millennia ago, born from the prophets and seers of forgotten eras, truly speak of the nations that now shape our world? Is it mere coincidence, or does a deeper tapestry of divine foresight weave through the very fabric of history, revealing outlines of empires and peoples yet to emerge? Tonight, we embark on a contemplative journey, sifting through the dust of ages to uncover whether the sacred scriptures, in their enigmatic verses and symbolic pronouncements, hold clues to the geopolitical landscape of the modern era. Prepare to witness how ancient words might illuminate the world we inhabit today, promising an understanding that transcends time itself. Part 2. The Journey of Deep Discovery. A. The historical context, prophets and geopolitical foresight. To truly grasp the concept of ancient prophecies speaking to modern nations, we must first immerse ourselves in the historical and cultural milieu in which these prophecies were born. The prophets of the Old Testament, such as Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and Daniel, were not merely fortune tellers in the modern sense. They were divine spokespersons, delivering God's messages to specific audiences within their own historical contexts, messages of warning, judgment, restoration, and ultimate hope. Yet, their visions often extended beyond the immediate horizon, encompassing a vast panorama of future events, including the rise and fall of empires, the destinies of peoples, and the ultimate culmination of human history. For these ancient seers, history was not a series of random occurrences, but a purposeful narrative guided by a sovereign hand. Their prophecies were often couched in the political realities of their day, naming contemporary empires like Assyria, Babylon, Persia, and Greece. However, the language employed, rich in symbolism, metaphors, and archetypal patterns, suggests that these pronouncements often possessed a multi-layered fulfillment. A prophecy might address an immediate historical event, yet also contain a broader, more ultimate application to future generations and even the end times. This dual fulfillment principle is crucial for understanding how ancient texts might speak to modern entities. The Israelites, surrounded by powerful, often hostile nations, were acutely aware of the geopolitical shifts of their time. The prophets, therefore, frequently addressed the fate of these neighboring nations as a testament to God's universal sovereignty. When we examine texts concerning Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia, or even the kings of the north and south, we are often presented with descriptions that transcend their immediate historical counterparts, hinting at enduring characteristics or future manifestations of national power. B. Decoding the Scripture, Unveiling Ancient Blueprints. The quest to find modern nations in ancient Scripture is not about drawing simplistic, one-to-one correlations, but rather about discerning patterns, characteristics, and long-term destinies assigned to regions and peoples that continue to exist or have re-emerged in the modern world. Let us consider some compelling examples. One of the most extensively debated prophetic passages is found in the book of Daniel, particularly chapters 2 and 7. Daniel's vision of the great image, Daniel 2, and the four beasts, Daniel 7, is traditionally interpreted as a sequential progression of world empires: Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. However, the feet of iron and clay in Daniel 2 and the 10 horns of the fourth beast in Daniel 7 have been widely interpreted by scholars to represent a fragmented, yet powerful, end-time empire or coalition. Many identify elements of this final stage with a re-emergence of Roman power or a powerful European confederacy, often linking it to modern European institutions that share cultural and geographical lineage with the Roman Empire. The idea of iron mixed with clay suggests an inherent instability, a powerful but brittle alliance that resonates with the complex political landscape of modern international relations. Moving to Ezekiel, chapters 38 and 39 present a striking prophecy concerning Gog of the land of Magog, leading a vast coalition of nations against Israel in the latter days. The list of allied nations: Persia, Cush, Ethiopia, Put, Libya, Gomer, ancient Sumerians, often linked to Central Europe, Turkey, and Beth Togarmah, Armenia, Turkey, has sparked intense scholarly debate. Many commentators interpret Magog as a reference to ancient Scythian tribes who inhabited regions north of the Black Sea, leading some to connect it with modern-day Russia. Persia directly corresponds to modern Iran. Cush and Put align with Sudan, Ethiopia, and Libya. The combined imagery paints a picture of a major geopolitical confrontation involving a resurgent Russia and its allies, including Iran and various North African and Middle Eastern nations, in a future conflict centered on Israel. While specific identities are debated, the regional descriptors are remarkably consistent with modern geographical and political entities. The Book of Revelation also contains numerous prophetic pronouncements that are often understood in light of modern nations and geopolitical shifts. The imagery of the kings of the East, Revelation 16:12, for instance, speaks of a vast army crossing the Euphrates. This has led many to speculate about the emergence of powerful Asian nations, particularly China and its allies, playing a significant role in end-time events. The sheer scale and potential military might implied by kings of the East resonate profoundly with the growing influence and military strength of East Asian powers today. Furthermore, the great prostitute described in Revelation 17, riding a scarlet beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, is often interpreted as a powerful, global political and economic system, or even a specific city. While some identify it with a revived Rome or a future global capital, its characteristics reigning over the kings of the earth suggest an entity with immense international influence, hinting at a globalized economic and political power structure that finds parallels in our interconnected modern world. C. The hidden theological meaning, God's sovereignty and history. Beyond the specifics of national identification, the theological meaning embedded in these prophecies is profound. They serve as a powerful testament to God's absolute sovereignty over human history and the destinies of nations. Even in the midst of political turmoil, conflict, and the rise and fall of empires, the biblical narrative asserts that there is a divine plan unfolding. These prophecies remind humanity that our world is not adrift in chaos, nor is history a series of random accidents. Instead, there is a purposeful trajectory, a grand narrative orchestrated by a transcendent power. The ability of ancient prophets to seemingly glimpse the contours of future nations underscores the timeless relevance of the biblical message. It challenges us to look beyond immediate events and consider a larger, eternal perspective. It also reinforces the idea of accountability. Nations, like individuals, are ultimately accountable to a divine standard. The judgments pronounced against ancient nations serve as a perennial warning, and the promises of future justice and restoration offer enduring hope. These passages remind us that all earthly powers are transient, subject to a higher authority, and ultimately part of a divine drama leading towards a final consummation. D. Controversies and theories. Navigating the interpretive labyrinth. The interpretation of prophetic scripture, particularly concerning modern nations, is fraught with complexities and has given rise to numerous controversies and diverse theories. One primary challenge lies in the nature of prophetic language itself, which is often symbolic, metaphorical, and non-literal. Distinguishing between literal fulfillment and symbolic representation requires careful hermeneutical principles. Some scholars advocate for a futurist interpretation, believing that many end-time prophecies about nations are yet to be fulfilled and will manifest in specific modern entities. Others lean towards a preterist view, arguing that most prophecies were fulfilled in the past, for example, during the Roman Empire, and applying them to modern nations is anachronistic. A historicist approach views prophecy as a continuous unfolding throughout history, with various nations fitting prophetic descriptions at different times. The danger of over-speculation and forcing modern geopolitical events into ancient texts is a significant concern. The temptation to date-set or to definitively identify every modern nation with an ancient counterpart often leads to discredited theories and undermines the credibility of biblical prophecy. Critics also point out the fluidity of national identities and borders over millennia, making precise identification challenging. Despite these challenges, the consistent geographical markers, the enduring characteristics attributed to certain peoples and regions, and the repeated patterns of national behavior in Scripture invite contemplation. The very act of seeking these connections forces us to engage deeply with the text, to consider the ongoing relevance of ancient wisdom, and to grapple with the profound implications of a God who not only speaks through time but also orchestrates its unfolding. The conversation itself, with its varied interpretations, highlights the living and dynamic nature of prophetic inquiry. Part 3. The Conclusion, an Eternal Echo. As the final embers glow, we reflect on our journey through the ancient scrolls, where whispers of the past seem to converge with the realities of the present. We have explored how the biblical prophets, in their profound visions, might have etched blueprints for nations that would rise millennia after their words were first penned. From Daniel's great image to Ezekiel's formidable coalition and Revelation's global powers, the echoes of their pronouncements resonate with striking clarity in the geopolitical landscape of today. This exploration is not about definitive pronouncements or absolute certainties, for the tapestry of prophecy is woven with threads of mystery and divine purpose. Rather, it is an invitation to profound contemplation. Can history truly be read through the lens of ancient foresight? Do these texts offer more than mere coincidence, pointing instead to an overarching narrative where every nation, every empire, plays a part in a story far grander than itself? Perhaps the most enduring echo of these ancient prophecies is not merely the identification of modern nations, but the powerful affirmation of a transcendent design, reminding us that even in the tumult of our world, there is a divine hand at work, guiding the destinies of peoples and nations towards an ultimate, eternal horizon. What then does this say about our own place in this magnificent, unfolding story?